Welcome to the Candid Connection. It's March, and Andrew and Ashley will be talking about things happening here in Lansing, including the introduction of oral anti-cancer medication fairness, House Bill 4354. Andrew and Ashley will also be talking about what's happening on the federal level, especially around COVID and its impact on cancer patients. And we're excited to welcome our guests this month, Congressman John Moolenaar from Michigan's 4th Congressional District. I'm Andrew Shepers, joined with Ashley Wakefield. This is the Candid Connection. Well, happy March, Ashley.
Here we are.
We made it. Holy crow.
I know. Does that mean it's spring?
Yes, I'm hopeful. My golf clubs are hopeful too.
Yes, I know they are.
But you know what March is all about? St. Patrick's Day.
March Madness.
And basketball. That's
right.
Go green. Hey.
Go white.
All right. So, March also means it's budget season here in Michigan. And so earlier in February, the governor did release her budget. And I can happy to report no cuts to any of our programs, which is very exciting.
That's incredible. Yeah. I mean, in a tough budget year, for us to maintain the line of funding for cancer patients, we'll take it. That's a victory.
Amen. Amen about that. And so, as we kind of move forward, now House committees are getting together and subcommittees are going through their specific budgets. And so it'll be a wait and see. And sometime in May, we'll have a fiscal agency consensus revenue estimating conference where they'll figure out, really how much money they feel like we're going to have next year. And then the budget will essentially be done by the time they leave for summer break, if you can believe it.
Wow.
I mean, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Let's
right.
knock
I was
on wood.
Say, is this for sure?
Knock on wood. Okay. So, the other big thing that happened a couple weeks ago is that our oral chemo fairness bill finally was introduced.
Yes, and boy, was that a big rollout. There was a very large healthcare reform package that it was a part of. How many bills were part of that package?
It was huge, 15 bills, and it's bipartisan.
That's wonderful. Well, that is a big. If you're not in the world all the time of legislation and packages of things, it's very rare you see that many as part of a rollout.
Yeah, I know. And so, now, and it sounds like things may be moving pretty quick. We heard that there's a very, very aggressive timeline in terms of pushing some of this legislation forward. But those listening and watching, if you're interested, it's House Bill 4354. So go ahead and check that out on the Michigan Legislature website. But we also have some resources for folks out there too for this issue, don't we?
We do, because sometimes it can be such an uphill battle of education. And, what is this? What is this thing you speak of? Here in Michigan, I don't think our volunteers are any stranger to this issue around oral anti-cancer medication, as we've been, fighting this fight for 15 years now, which is tough to say.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, it's made us really well versed on it. And so if you're new to our crew, you can visit fightcancer.org/fairness.
That's right. Fairness. Yep.
Easy to remember, fightcancer.org/fairness. And this website has some great opportunities for you to get caught up on what this issue is, why it's important. But one thing I'll highlight, because it's kind of my vein that I'm excited about, is there is a slot on there that says, I am an advocate.
Okay.
So if you are a volunteer or looking to be a volunteer or to even engage on this issue in any small way, shape, or form, click that button, fill out your information. It takes about 10 seconds. And I will personally be emailing you with some, here's what you can do to make sure that we move this legislation forward and in the positive direction that we want it going.
Great. So again, that website is fightcancer.org/fairness.
That's right.
For those watching, it's scrolling down on the bottom of the screen. So
There you go.
again, fightcancer.org/fairness.
We give
So
you permission to leave watching us and
yes,
go to that website.
please go check it out. On a federal level, we're really kind of in a holding pattern, aren't we?
You know what? We are. There's a lot going on. Sometimes when you're not hearing information, it might sound like there's nothing happening. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. There's a lot happening. But from a forward facing, take action on this right now, we're, like you said, in a holding pattern. And so if you want to hear, where ACS is focused on this year when it comes to our federal priorities, I would encourage you to listen, if you haven't already, to our February. It was February already, right?
It was, yeah.
It was our February episode of the Candid Connection. We have one of our amazing staff partners that joined us and gave us really a robust rundown of where ACS is focused this year in the cancer space from the federal side.
Yeah, so you can find that at fightcancer.org/candid-connection to go ahead and listen and see that episode. It's up there right now on the web. It's up there on our website. So go ahead and check it out. And you can get a little more insight on what our federal agenda is. But let's shift a little bit because there's a lot of work happening on the ground, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot happening. So one thing that we'll plug before we get into the rest of the stuff is our Cancer Action Week.
Okay.
So some of you may know that as our Cancer Action Day or our Day at the Capitol or all the fun names that it's been known as.
Yeah.
But this year we are doing another virtual Cancer Action Week, which I'm excited about. I think we've all gotten a little bit more comfortable with the virtual platforms. And as evidence from last year, it can be really successful. So this year, during the month of April 26th through the 30th, we're going to be meeting virtually with our lawmakers and as a group of advocates to talk about the legislation of oral anti-cancer fairness. Hopefully by that time, it has moved along and we are saying a big thank you.
Let's knock on wood.
Right. That's our hope where we stand now. But just give us an opportunity to connect as advocates with our lawmakers and say, hey, this is what's important to Michigan cancer patients.
Got it. So if folks are looking to register, where can they go?
Again, fightcancer.org/MI. We also have a resource page called fightcancer.org/resources. So again, trying to make it easy for you. But there's a big old note there to how to register, but also we'll answer some questions. If you're a little hesitant on joining us virtually, I can tell you that with any skill level on your computer or your phone, we can get you hooked up into our virtual platform.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a part of it last year, and normally my position, I don't spend a lot of time in those meetings. And I was able to take some meetings, and it was a wonderful experience. So again, head to fightcancer.org/MI to go ahead and find more resources in terms of what's out there for Cancer Action Week. Other big things going on in terms of grassroots. How is your Advocacy Academy going along?
Oh, you know what? It's great. Thank you for asking. I just absolutely love working with that group of high schoolers and young advocates. They run circles around me when it comes to their energy level and reinvigorate their passion is infectious. And they are, if you haven't heard of our Advocacy Academy, basically what we do is we meet once a month, 4 times, and we're just training up young health advocates. So at the end, they will graduate as an ACS health advocate.
Okay.
But the exciting thing, even though we're closed for this semester, is we are planning to do this twice a year.
Oh, great.
So if you missed this round, feel free to reach out to me. Again, if you head to our website, you'll find my contact information. But we are hoping to launch it for a fall semester.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
Tell your young people to sign up.
Okay.
They also can earn fun things like their volunteer hours, which are very important. Yes. And some other good things. So
great. And so again, head to the website, fightcancer.org/MI for more information in the fall.
That's right.
Great. Awesome. Finally,
yes,
Lights of Hope has started.
Yes, I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. We're
already there.
We're already there. And our volunteers, no surprise to us, are off and running with their ideas and their creativity and really seeking to make an impact this year on the fight against cancer. I mean, a Lights of Hope, basically, if you're not familiar with it, it is a luminaria bag that we use to honor people who have, passed on from cancer in memory of them, or those who have fought the good fight and, are still here with us. But this year, what they've done is they've added some really great changes and kind of made the program more robust, I guess. So there's some amazing sponsorship opportunities for local businesses, but also there's family sponsorships. So say your family has been affected by cancer, and if you're going down the list of people you want to honor, that could get lengthy, unfortunately, for some. And so what they've said is, how about a family sponsorship where your family is honored just in general through our Lights of Hope program? So, there's just a lot of really good things. What I'll encourage you to do, because again, we're giving you a lot of information and obviously, jokingly adding you to our website. But another thing to keep you kind of updated on all of this as the days go by is to follow us on our social media platforms. So if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you can find us at ACS Can Michigan. So ACS CAN Michigan on all of those platforms. Like our pages, follow our pages, and we will be able to kind of keep you updated with just a real quick, hey, click on this and take action.
Great. So make sure you check out our social media pages. I know Ashley does a lot of our updating, but every once in a while I get the keys to the car and I pop some stuff on. So again, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Again, look for ACS Can Michigan to go ahead and find more information there. So I'm really excited for our guest this month. I don't know if you are.
I am. He has been a big supporter. I know that we have volunteers in his district that have built such a wonderful relationship, and he's always been good to them.
So I just want to take a couple seconds here to introduce you to our guest. Our guest this month is Congressman John Moolenaar, who represents and resides in Michigan's 4th Congressional District here in the great northern lower Michigan, at least where I grew up and where I'm from. He's currently a member of the House Appropriations Committee, so spends a lot of time dealing with the country's budget. But the congressman brings years of leadership experience in the private and public sectors to Congress. He worked as a chemist and business development director and as a school administrator. So it sounds kind of all over the board there a little bit. So, but as a public servant, the congressman has been elected to the Midland City Council, the Michigan House of Representatives, and along with the Michigan Senate. He was born and raised in Midland, where he now lives with his wife, Amy, and together they've raised 6 children. So he has his bachelor's degree in chemistry from Hope College and a master's degree in public administration from Harvard University. So really well-learned guy. I had an opportunity to work with him in the House, and so just a great stand-up guy. And so now here is our interview with Congressman Mulliner.
Enjoy.
Congressman, thank you for taking the opportunity and time to join us today. We appreciate what I'm sure is quite a busy schedule in D.C. lately.
Well, it is, but it's good to be with you, Andrew, and I appreciate the chance to talk with you. And I always learn when I talk with you, so I'm grateful for that.
Oh, well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you learning. I think that's always a good thing. And man, we talk about learning. Let's just kind of start with COVID. How has COVID really changed your life and essentially being a congressman?
Well, as you know, we're doing a lot of things remote. Our committee meetings are often virtual now, and doing a lot of Zoom calls and all these kinds of technology. In my district, one of the things I'm working on is rural broadband, and I've introduced a bill today, actually, to expand opportunities for access to the internet for rural communities, because I think the pandemic has really shown us how important accessing the internet, whether it's telemedicine or helping kids do their homework.
Yeah.
You name it, it's important. And we really have some work to do in that area.
Yeah. No, I agreed. I know that, over here in the past few weeks here, the House is here in Michigan has put together a big package in terms of dealing with healthcare, and telehealth was part of that too. So I know it's a big priority here in Michigan as well. So, well, a big priority for us, has really been, getting access to care. And I think the pandemic has really kind of shown a light on especially cancer patients who are compromised, are having a hard time going out and getting treatment. I know that, your time here in Michigan, you spent some time working on legislation that would kind of level the playing field, which I can tell you that bill has been introduced again by State Rep Dare Rendon, who's out of your district, House Bill 4354. But on a federal level, there's an impact that folks on the federal level can make too, and so kind of, over the past few terms, there has been a bill introduced to deal with oral chemo parity on a federal level, and that really affects ERISA plans. Um, have you heard anything in terms of this session of that bill being reintroduced? And if so, would that be something that you would be interested in supporting?
Absolutely. And as you know, I strongly support this legislation on oral chemo parity. And, last Congress, I should say, I co-sponsored HR 1730, the Cancer Drug Parity Act, and that would require health plans that cover anti-cancer medications administered by a healthcare provider to provide no less favorable cost sharing for patient-administered anti-cancer medications. And that was a bipartisan bill. We had more than 170 co-sponsors in the last Congress. Never came up for a vote. And so my hope is, as it's introduced in this Congress, we'll continue to get strong co-sponsorship in a bipartisan way, and hopefully we'll be able to vote on it and pass it in this Congress.
Yeah, no, we're hopeful too. And what can volunteers here on the ground in Michigan do to hopefully maybe spur this bill up for a vote? Is there a committee chair we need to talk to? Is it letters into leadership? What is it?
I think the first step would be to go through and identify, the co-sponsors in the last Congress, and maybe do a letter and say, we'd like you to co-sponsor again this Congress, and here's who we've identified to be the strongest, people, the lead introducers of the bill, and you want to look at different committees that will have jurisdiction. And I think the issue is making it the priority, whether it's a standalone bill or, we're going to be doing a number of bills that will be, appropriations bills.
Mm-hmm.
And we can look for ways to include this as, part of an overall package that's going through. As you know, not everything is going to be bipartisan in this Congress. However, the things that are, we ought to make sure that we're including something like this that has strong bipartisan support.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. And in terms of trying to get that included, so thank you for that. I think research has really been another big issue that may have, that's bipartisan. Right, Ashley?
Yeah, absolutely. And Congressman, just kind of, I guess, pivoting, but staying kind of in the same vein of that COVID lens, this, pandemic has certainly hit clinical trials, especially for cancer patients, really hard. And I know, you've heard from our volunteers about cancer research and the NIH and NCI. But we have seen an influx of kind of a little bit different messaging around restarting these clinical trials. we're learning that the amount of money to get that up and going could be pretty monumental. And I'm just wondering, you've always been with us on this issue and a huge supporter of the NCI and NIH. What are you hearing, amongst your colleagues in DC about, that increase in funding to the NIH for the restarting of those research and clinical trials?
Well, I think there's strong support for that. As you know, Ashley, cancer research is one of the biggest bipartisan priorities in Congress. And with our nation aging, it's becoming even more important. And as you point out, NIH research has been critical. I think of when I first came here, Congressman Upton from Michigan was very involved with the Cures Act. And I know then Vice President Biden was very involved in the cancer moonshot legislation. And so I think you had some very good, strong bipartisan support for that. As you point out, everything, it's been all hands on deck with COVID and so much, energy, finances, and research dollars devoted to, developing, vaccines and thankfully, Operation Warp Speed has been a huge success of, coming to the market in less than a year with multiple vaccines. So that's been a huge success, but that has also then meant that some of our other major priorities have been put on the back burner. And so we need to get back to work on those studies that were being done before COVID began. I'm hopeful that we can make higher funding available for cancer research and this budget cycle. As you know, I serve on the Health, Labor, and Education Subcommittee of Appropriations, and so we're going to be working closely with the NIH on its priorities, and cancer research is going to be a huge part of that.
It's exciting news. Thank you. I think it's we all know with the passage of the Henrietta Lacks legislation last term, just kind of opening the door to clinical trials. Like, it's great to hear that research and clinical trials will be coming up again. So, well, thank you for that. We appreciate that. That's exciting news. So
you bet.
It's a new term, and I think we never really get an opportunity to talk about a new term and what folks are really interested in working on. And so for you, kind of what's on your plate for this term or a specific issue here or there that you're interested in working on for the coming term?
Well, as we discussed earlier, rural broadband is a top priority for me. I think the pandemic has really illustrated just the gap in opportunities for families, with their children's education, with healthcare, with remote working, that we need to expand our access. And so I'm promoting legislation on that, but also, getting our businesses back open, getting our schools open and our kids back in school, and then, working on healthcare. I mean, I think these are all key priorities that, we're just starting our appropriations process now. So we've been having a lot of subcommittee hearings and that'll go through the next several months. So that'll be a big priority. The president will have a budget out sometime in the coming months and, outline his priorities. So there will be a lot on the plate, and I'm excited about the year, but we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Good. Well, good. Well, it all sounds like exciting stuff, and excited to hear that, a lot of that stuff will be coming down the pike. So, before we go, we always like to kind of ask fun, silly questions to our guests in terms of really kind of get to know more about them. And so, I'm a big foodaholic. I'll be upfront and honest with that.
You're a foodie?
I am. Okay. I'm a total foodie.
That's all right.
And so with March, it's St. Patrick's Day. And so what, if you're getting ready for a St. Patrick's Day event, what's your favorite fare to indulge in?
Well, it's funny because So the Clare Irish Festival is in my district, and
Okay.
there's always a huge parade that kicks off the parade season, and so we weren't able to have it last year. I don't know if we'll have it this year, but hopefully in 2021. And it's a big event for Clare and the Irish town. But I think of things like Irish stew, shepherd's pie. Kind of hard to ignore the green beer. So it's kind of an exciting time. So I will look forward to it, but I'm looking forward to the day when we're back to normal and we can, celebrate some of these festivals that we enjoy in Michigan and get back to our normal way of life.
Amen to that. I think we're both looking forward to that too, very much. So, well, joining us today again is Congressman John Moolenaar. Thank you so much for taking some time with us today. We really appreciate it.
You bet. Great talking with you.
Yep. Great talking. Again, Congressman John Moolenaar from Michigan's 4th Congressional District. Well, that was a good interview. I was glad that I was glad he was able to take the time and come on. I know it was only through phone, but he definitely, it sounds like they've got a lot going on in DC in terms of working on some of our issues.
That's right. And overall very supportive.
Yes. Yep.
So what a great interview to just learn and see what's happening from an insider's perspective.
Yeah. So, well, that wraps it up for this month's episode of the Candid Connection. We appreciate you being here. Look for us next month. We'll have some updates, hopefully, knock on wood, on oral anti-cancer medication fairness. And I'm really excited for this coming episode, because now you're really going to hear from somebody who really is in the trenches every day, as this is our volunteer episode as we kind of get rolling up to Cancer Action Week. So right. I really look forward to this one.
Me too. Well, cheers to next month, everybody.
Cheers to next month. We'll see you next month.